Hello to anybody who's logged on. We are just getting started here. I'm going to give the first few minutes as people find their computers and find the LinkedIn link and kind of get logged on here. So just hang tight if you're already in for a couple minutes, and then we will proceed shortly after. Thank you. All right, anybody who has joined us, we're just giving it a couple of minutes for people to log on and get situated. So if you are already logged on, just hang tight for a minute or two, and then we can get started. Thank you. Okay, you guys, in essence of time, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. The beginning is kind of some introductions, so we will still have a couple minutes for those that are still going to be kind of joining on. So thank you everybody who signed up and who is present. We're going to discuss today, excuse me, how AI is changing the retail industry. This is a webinar meant to inform you of these changes that are currently happening. And this webinar is put on by DISPL. And we'll talk a little bit about DISPL at the end. But again, this is more of an informative session to really understand how AI is shaping the retail industry and what we can do to stay ahead of it. So let's go to the next page here. Who am I? Hello, my name is Lorenza West. Just a little bit about me before we get started. I have been in this merchandising, marketing, retail space for over 20 years. I have had the opportunity to work with some really awesome brands. I've worked with everybody almost under the Vanity Fair umbrella. So brands like Uggs and JanSport and North Face. I've also worked with big power tool brands like Makita and DeWalt. So over the course of 20 years, I've really prided myself on staying up with the trends, knowing what's happening. Of course, we all took a real big hit in in-store retail during COVID, but now things are back and they're back stronger than ever. And now AI has entered the game. And so I have joined DISPL. DISPL is the a leading company in introducing AI to the retail space. And we're going to talk about what that looks like, what we have historically done in marketing in person, and how that's changing. So let's get into the topics we're going to hit today. So today we are going to hit store layout and merchandising optimization. Then we are going to move into personalized product recommendations. Then we're going to touch a little bit on the back of the house too, and talk about staffing, scheduling, and sales KPIs. And then I'm going to go in and show you what the return on investment has been for actual retail locations and brands that are currently using AI and what that looks like in real time. So let's go here. So again, the first topic, we're going to talk about store layout and merchandising options. Okay. So for store layout, we have this really cool 3D image here that shows a planogram. And I just want to touch on the various planograms that are currently out there. So store layouts consist of the grid method. The grid method is similar to what you would see in a grocery store, just long aisles of gondolas. You can go in and out of them. The flow is kind of uncertain, but expected. And then you have the gallery. And gallery is just how it sounds, kind of like an art gallery. You'll have rotundas, you'll have various focal points. The consumer is left to kind of wander around the store, and they get attracted to, what grabs their attention. And then, of course, we have forced flow for a store layout. And then if you can kind of envision like a bodega, there is a clear entrance to the store. There is a clear exit to the store. There's only one way for the consumer to go, and the cash register is usually at the end of that forced flow. So these are a couple of examples of how retail spaces are set up. Now, here's the thing, no matter how the retail space is set up, the important information that we want as marketers is the customer journey. How are they experiencing the space? Where are they gravitating towards? Where are they spending the majority of their time? And are they in fact making it to the checkout stand before exiting? So historically, the way that we have been able to quantify this or understand this has been two ways. Obviously, the sales reps that are on the floor, they can give us feedback. They can give the marketing department feedback. They can tell you, that display that we put in for the stereo system at the beginning of the month is getting a lot of attention. I can tell because I can see it happening. And historically, another way we can tell about the flow of the brand zones and the store layout is by revenue. So at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, which brands that are displayed in the store receive the most sales. So the problem with these two things is you have to rely on the sales rep to pay attention and give you correct feedback. And then with sales numbers, you have to wait till a certain period of time has expired in order to get that knowledge. It's not in real time. So this is where AI can come into play to give us some real-time data. So I'm going to explain how that happens. So with AI technology embedded into the retail space, we can now track as a customer enters their journey through the store, which areas of the store received the most attention, and did that customer journey include a stop at the cash register? Now, I'm going to go back up a little bit and explain how AI does that. So AI is specifically in the solution that DISPL offers is we're collecting a collection of attributes, about 18 different attributes. And they include things like age, gender, hair color, eyewear, headwear, if they're wearing a mask, for men, facial hair. And based on the collection of these attributes, each customer will get a unique ID number. And as that unique ID number travels through the store, we are then able to track where that person is spending the most time. So we'll be able to generate analytical data that says 30-something-year-old males with facial hair are spending a lot of time in the beard grooming section of Ulta. And I want to make clear one thing too, because a lot of the worry that comes into introducing AI into this space is privacy. So these 18 different attributes are what's called non-personalized data. So if I walk into a store, the data report isn't going to say Lorenza West walked into the store and she spent 3 hours perusing and never bought anything. That's not the data we're collecting. The data is the non-personalized data that make up the demographics of our target market. So it's very valuable information, yet we're still ensuring the safety and the privacy of our consumer. And I want to take that even a step further and mention that the technology that is being used, not only by us, but I'm sure by others as well, is we're making sure that it's GDPR certified. So we are following certain parameters, such as recordings aren't being stored, likeness of your image isn't being stored, those types of things to ensure that privacy is very much upheld. I did see a question pop up here that I am going to address right now. I was going to wait and address all questions at the end, but this is a good one. So the question is, how can you tell the age? So that's a great question. And I'm going to give you an answer in the way that I understand it. So it's data points that are being collected based on an algorithm that judges various points of the face. How that looks on a programming side of things, I really can't explain that. I don't speak that language, but the age aspect is developed with an algorithm that has been worked on by coders and programmers for the last 10 to 12 years. So, and it's worth mentioning that that algorithm is also carries a 70+% accuracy rate. So for example, we took this to a trade show back in June, and we were pretty spot on. We do have about a 3 or 4 year plus or minus variance, but we were pretty spot on with our age. It was pretty exciting to see. Okay, so this portion is about merchandising optimization. So with merchandising optimization, obviously we all know the tricks of the trade that we've currently used, that we've been using, and I'm talking about using color to incite an emotion, the height of which you place the products, and being creative. I know we've all seen those beautiful Macy's window displays and things of that nature. So now that AI has entered the game, we can use artificial intelligence to enhance these optimizations even more. And I'll explain how. So if you take a look at this slide, we have a display here that has lit cubes, lit boxes that have, and right now they're just glowing yellow. Well, with AI optimization, we can control the color, the hue, even the sound that exits this display based on the shopper that's standing in front of it. So for example, men and women react differently to colors and sounds. It's just the way we absorb information is different. So we may want to enhance this display by projecting a different color when a female shopper walks up to it versus when a male shopper walks up to it. And when AI is incorporated into it, we can do that. We can do it with sound. If music is playing and we have a young whippersnapper walk into the store, we can have music that is geared towards a younger generation come on the speakers versus an older generation sound could come on for an older shopper. The other very important thing about this AI technology is the data that is being collected at the time of use. So not only is the data triggering these emphases, it's also letting you know how the display is performing. So what I mean by that is typically when we create a display, we create that holiday window display, or we are about to release a new line of Air Jordans and we're going to put together a whole marketing deployment. The only way historically we've been able to track if our in-store marketing is working is by waiting until the end of the quarter, waiting until we get those revenue numbers. And then we can see, oh, we were expecting a 10% return on the $1 million we spent for this deployment, and we didn't get it. With this AI data in real time, we can see if we are engaging the customers right away. We don't have to wait 3 months to get those revenue numbers. We can see with the data within our dashboard, hey, this merchandising display, this store brand zone is really engaging the customers even more so than what we thought. Or on the flip side, it's not. People are walking by this. People are not engaging with this. One of the attributes we collect is emotion. People are looking confused. Nobody is smiling. They have a very neutral look when they come up to it. Having this data in real time allows the marketing department of the brand to go in there and make adjustments to the merchandising efforts, to the in-store marketing efforts, to tweak it so that you can guarantee yourself a return on those marketing efforts. It's a phenomenal thing. And being in this industry for 20 years, I wish I had this data years ago. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about personal product recommendations. Now, I want to take this time to express that what AI is doing by having it in the store is we are mirroring the experience a customer is having online with online e-commerce, and we're making that transition to in-store commerce a fluid transition. So let's start with some stats. So a recent poll has found that 90% of retailers believe that AI should be a priority. So what is that telling us? That's telling us right now that the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas and the Nikes, they're already on this. They're already searching ways to incorporate AI into the in-person retail space. So by this time next year, if we get on this conversation again, we're going to find that AI is very much here. It's not a fad. It's being incorporated. And now is the time to really start adding it to our offerings. Okay. What another poll has found that 66% of customers expect businesses to understand their needs and interests. And of course, why not? I mean, when we are on shopping online, we're getting product recommendations. We're getting promo codes on our birthday to items that our algorithm recreated online suspects that we might like. So why is that shopping experience? Why does it end as soon as we're shopping in store? That experience should continue, and that's what AI will allow us to do. And then another interesting thing I wanted to bring up is 80% of customers enter a store because of its outdoor digital signage. So this customization, this personalized customization starts before your consumer has ever even entered the space. So that's just something to keep in mind. From the beginning of the journey all the way to the cash register, AI can be incorporated. So personal product recommendations, just like the ones we're getting in e-commerce, by putting that in the in-store scenario, we're improving the customer experience. And that's the direction we want to take this. We want to improve the customer experience. So what we see here is an example of that. So just like I talked about how so far AI can collect data, AI can use that data to emphasize the merchandising experience through light and sound. And then AI can also collect that data and use that data in conjunction with digital displays, thus creating product recommendations specific to the shopper that's standing in front of them. So what we're seeing here in action is somebody has walked up to a digital display. Based on the calculations that have been collected, the display then changes and advertises a product that, based on market research, is specific to the attributes this person holds. So what we're doing is we're upselling. And this has proven to increase stores' revenue anywhere from 15 to 30%. It's like having a sales rep on at all times in the space, upselling a product that's geared towards the person it's talking to. So it's a very exciting new technology, and we've seen it in action, and I'm going to show you guys this later of how it's working. Okay. So let's move to our next. Let's talk a little bit about how this is going to affect the rest of it. So we've talked about how the outward facing, how this affects the shopper. Let's now move and talk about how this is going to affect staffing, scheduling, and the sales KPIs. Okay. So the facts. What are the facts? Staffing is essential. Staffing and effective staffing at that is essential. We never want to overstaff because those are salaries that we're never going to get back. We're losing money. And we don't want to understaff because our lead conversion is going to suffer if we don't have the sales reps to manage that. So how does AI help that? So how AI helps that is, let me use an example of how we have historically done it. So we all know that for holiday seasons, especially the end of year holiday season, we ramp up on staff. We get seasonal staff. We staff our floors to the gills because we want to make sure that we're ready to go for the holiday season. And we pick those numbers based on historical data. What were the sales last year? How many people did we have on the floor last year? Was that enough? Oh, great, it was. Let's just repeat what happened last year. Well, a lot can happen in a year. The economy can change. There could be a natural disaster in one part of the country that can affect whether people are going to come out to the store. So if we are basing our plan, our scheduling and staffing plan on historical data of last year, that leaves a large margin for error. So what AI can do is give you real-time data, can give you data from what happened earlier today, what happened yesterday, what happened last week, so that we can start to close that margin of error and really staff accordingly to what is actually happening. And what you're seeing here on this slide in the bottom corner is a heat map. So this is how that information is dispersed. You can see that the days of the week are laid out and the hours in the day are laid out. And the darker the heat map, the more concentrated the customers are in the store. So those are going to indicate high traffic times, and those are going to indicate the times that we need the staff present. So it takes the guesswork out, and it takes having to rely on old data. We have in real-time data. The other thing that this does is it will trigger a sales rep to go to a specific zone in the store. So let's say you have somebody who's in an Apple store and they found a phone that they like and they're playing with the phone, and now they've played with it for 3 minutes. They're on the fence about it. They're not too sure if they want to move forward, but nobody is coming over to answer their questions. They put the phone down, they walk out of the store, and the sale is lost. Well, what AI technology can do is say, oh, this person's been touching me for 3 minutes already. Let me ping a sales rep to come over here and sell me on this product, because obviously I'm interested enough because my engagement has lasted this long. So what does that mean for KPIs? That means we're going, our lead to sale conversion rate is going to be much higher, because our bounce rate is going to be much lower, because we are getting, it's called speed to lead. We are getting to that lead in time to convert it and not losing it, because AI is notifying us when somebody is engaged. It's quite phenomenal. So let me go to the next slide here. And I see somebody has asked, is it possible to get the recording? Absolutely. At the end of this, I'm also going to double check the questions, and I'm going to send everybody a copy of the recording. I know times are hard and we're all doing everything, a lot of things remote. So if you have to jump on another meeting, don't worry about it. I will make sure you get the full recording after the fact. Okay, so back to this. Let's talk a little bit about marketing ROI. So what is the return? What if we implement AI, what are we getting in return? So let's look at the full picture here. So we talked about marketing. We talked about store layout, capturing that traffic, knowing about that traffic, knowing about our target client, optimizing our merchandising and marketing efforts. We talked about sales. We talked about speed to lead. When it comes to HR, again, staffing, making sure people are on the job when they're supposed to be on the job, and making sure we're saving with staffing. What we haven't talked about yet is procurement. So again, historical data has shown us when and how much to stock the shelves with. But things change. And if we could have a more in real time understanding of how products are being consumed and bought and engaged with, we can make a more educated order for our procurement. So we can know, hey, we just stocked the shelves with this brand new product, and I can tell by looking at my AI analytics, it's going off the shelves like crazy. I better get my next order ready to go. I better not wait until the end of the quarter like I originally thought. So this in real time data that we're getting based on customers and how they're engaging with the product is really also going to narrow the margin of error for ordering as well. Okay. And then also business analytics. You know, the number one thing that the marketing team is always concerned with is, who is our target demographic? Are we even reaching our target demographic? And then what we're finding out too now is our target demographic changes. And if you're not changing with the demographic that is engaged with your product, you're going to be losing out on sales. So this real-time AI analytics is allowing you in real time to change with the ever-changing target, that moving target. Okay. So let's talk about some real cases that are going on, and then at the end of this, we can get into some questions. I do want to reiterate that everything I've already spoken about and will continue to speak about are solutions that are offered by DISPL. And even though we are talking specifically about retail space, the AI application here can be applied to multiple industries. So if you have or are working in a different industry, but you see the application, I very much implore you to reach out to me. And I will follow up at the end of this with everybody to make sure I've answered all the questions. But I think it would be good for you and I to get together and explore how this can benefit you, your industry, your clients moving forward. So let's talk about some cases. Okay, so the first real case I want to talk to you guys about is a consumer electronics store. So one of our clients here has a consumer electronics store, and they have applied our solution in various ways. So one of the ways they have applied our software are on the current devices. So if you see here, there's a cell phone. The software, the AI software, is installed on this cell phone. And it's being used to collect the data analytics, just like how I talked about the shopper playing with the phone for 3 minutes. It's collecting all that data. It's collecting the data of the person engaging with the phone. Now, let's say the sales rep doesn't come over. This particular phone has triggered content attached to the data. So the phone and the software recognizes, hey, this person has been handling and looking at this phone for more than 3 minutes. I am going to play a capture screen here so I can capture this person's information, and we can continue the sales process online at a later time, so that we could still get that conversion of that lead. So that is one of the triggered content that is being played. And I want to back up a little bit because I failed to mention that our software can play on devices that already have like a camera present and things of that nature. So for iPads, cell phones, laptops, self-service kiosks, it's a done deal there. We can universally work with that equipment, install the AI software, and you guys could just be ready to go. And then, of course, we also have hardware. So in the second example you see on the bottom, it's a shelf display. And you can see in the top left corner of that shelf display, there is a camera. That's a sensor that is collecting the data. So this is another example, same store location, that the software is now running on the hardware that we provided, but it's doing the same thing. It's collecting those attributes. It's collecting the demographics of the shopper. And it's also triggering the salesperson to come by. And then if you see at the top there, that's a really good example of what the dashboard looks like, how the data is being collected and then shown to you guys. So the dashboards are all customizable. You'll be able to see the data that is pertinent to you. So for example, Sunglass Hut is going to want to have one of those graphs that say how many people walk in with glasses versus how many people walk in with shades. So that kind of data can all be adjusted. It's also good to point out that marketing firms and marketing departments a lot of times already have their own data analytics software. They already have a way of which they consume information and then deploy responses. So with that being said, our software has back-end API integration. So if you guys are already consuming your information in a certain way, already maybe working with a content management system in a certain way, you're still going to be able to utilize the software through API integration. Okay. And then here is another part of the same store. So we talked about content management. We have content management on the employee device. So the software operates on the cloud, on the edge. So it's like a one touch, and you can disseminate all the information that you need to disseminate. You can change triggers, you can change content. It's super easy to use interface. And then if you see down to the other two examples, we talk about the POS screen and the digital catalog. This goes back to my statement of marrying the journey from online to offline. We want to make this a seamless, enjoyable experience for the shopper. So with the POS screen, if somebody's going to like a self-service kiosk, we can have triggered content pop up for a last minute suggestion, like, hey, we see you're checking out. Have you thought of buying a charger with that MP3 player or whatnot? So that's another way in which the attributes can trigger content on that POS system. And then there's also a digital catalog. Let's say I go to the store, I'm ready to buy a certain mattress. I get there, it's out of stock. On that POS system, I can flip through a digital catalog. I can be ordering the item, and then it could be showing up at my door. So we were really making this a fluid transition to online and offline shopping. Okay, so this is exciting. Let's talk about the beauty store case. So you see a video up on the top there, and this is just like a Ulta or a Sephora. And what we're witnessing here is two shoppers. First, we have the female shopper come into frame. We can see a collection of some of her attributes there. We see her age, her gender. And based on those collection of attributes, content in the way of an ad is being triggered on the digital screen. So she walks into frame, a perfume pops up onto the screen, and it's geared just towards that person. Well, what happens when somebody else walks into that zone? We see that happening here. So the male walks into the zone, his attributes are then collected, and then that screen switches over and then shows a cologne ad. So again, those can all be managed, changed, and triggered based on your guys' demographic requirements and the content that you guys want to show. A little side note, along with the umbrella of software products that we offer, we do have a designer in there as well. So you will be able to design that content, use templates. It's a real easy way of managing all your content management, or all your content rather. Okay, so this is real-time demographics, hardware management, just again, talking about the brand zones. Every screen can be playing something different, and it can all be managed in one platform. And then, oh, this is a fun one. I like this one. So Coca-Cola has this display here. And as you can see, it's like a monitor. It's in a food court in a shopping mall. And Coca-Cola said, hey, if you smile, we'll give you a Coke. So it's using our AI technology. And as soon as somebody walks up to the monitor, gives it a smile, a promo code will pop up. They take that promo code to the cash register when they're ready to cash out, and they'll get a free Coke. So that was a really fun project. And then the other example we see over here is the age detection. So this is really helpful because when selling products like alcohol and things and tobacco products and things of that nature, we really leave it up to the discretion of the cashier. And sometimes they could be wrong. So by taking the guesswork out of it and putting the responsibility on an algorithm to say, hey, our algorithm detected that this person may not be of age, please check their ID. So takes the guesswork out of and human error out of the aspect of age verification, and pings the cashier to then move forward with the age verification when it is necessary. Okay, you guys. So that is what I had for you guys today. Now, obviously, like I said, halfway through, for various industries, things are going to be different, and the applications might be a little bit different. The beautiful thing about AI and about DISPL is that we're very customizable. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Also, I invite you to reach out to me. Again, like I said, I'm going to follow up with each and every one of you after this to make sure either you got it or to answer any questions you might have. And I'd love to explore one-on-ones with you guys to see how AI can improve and evolve the way that you guys are doing business. So I'm just going to give it a minute here to see if any questions come through. And then if not, I wish everybody a very productive day. And again, I will follow up with you all with a recording of this, and we can continue the conversation. Okay, guys, it doesn't look like any questions are coming through. So this is where I leave you. Thank you so much for your time today. And again, I look forward to talking to you shortly. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.